you know, something is seriously wrong with the Victoria Police. It seems so politicised. I mean, just look what it did for a start to the innocent Cardinal George Pell, a Conservative. Now, to me, Victoria's police seem to treat Pell from the start as a pedophile, even advertising for so-called victims before it even had a complaint. Got an innocent man sent to jail before the High Court finally stepped in and said he was a victim of an injustice. Well, now, another example. More minor, you might say, but still very disturbing for me. And it's an example for which the police have finally apologised, although still not explained. It has apologised to a journalist, a right-wing journalist, Avi Yemini, for 3 times now wrongly arresting him as he was trying to cover protests in Melbourne. The apology reads, on each occasion, Mr Yemini was wrongly arrested and detained by members of Victoria Police while reporting for Rebel News. Victoria Police sincerely apologises for the hurt and embarrassment suffered by Mr Yemini. And I've got to think, wait a minute, wrongly arresting the same reporter not once, not twice, but 3 times? What is going on? And why is the media so uninterested in what seems to me another example of the brutal authoritarianism of the Victorian Labor Government and its minions? Let me show you these 3 arrests before I talk to Avi Yemini. 2 years ago, Yemini was interviewing people at a so-called Invasion Day protest on Australia Day. Some of the protests were a bit feral, yet police arrested not them, but Yemini.
You're bashing me, missus. I need you to keep walking.
I'm good.
I know you are.
If they're getting violent, so I'm being arrested for my own safety.
Then, in September that year, police arrested Yemini again, this time quite physically, quite nastily, and at a protest against the harsh virus lockdowns.
I am media. I'm media. I've got my permit in my pocket. My permit is in my pocket.
And then, on Australia Day last year, Yemini was again arrested when he interviewed protesters at another Invasion Day rally. Police marched right up to him as he peacefully interviewed people, and without explaining why, what right they had, threw him into a police van. And I'm embarrassed to say that even a Murdoch outlet treated it all as a big joke, sneering how infamous far-right YouTube personality Avi Yemini rants from police van after being detained on Australia Day, when all he did was report on air about an unjust, unlawful arrest of a journalist, which I would have thought was concern for every journalist. But each of those arrests, you know, they were unlawful. A serious attack on free speech and a free press. And after 2 years of fighting in the Supreme Court, Yemini has now won that apology from the police. And he joins me now. Avi Yemini, congratulations, but let's go from the start. Why were you, in fact, arrested?
Thank you, Andrew, for having me. And I guess it's pretty simple. In each of those protests, it was either easier to get rid of me because tactically I was being mobbed by violent leftists, and they thought, well, we're not going to deal with the criminals. We're going to take the one person out of this situation who's lawful. And in the other situation, they just didn't like what I was reporting, and they knew that they had the media class on their side. So I was kind of alone, and I've been alone until Rebel News actually created a legal fund for me where our viewers paid to go to court. And like you said, we fought for 2 years for police to give this simple apology, which is what I wanted from day one, Andrew. And I only wanted it not to feel good and vindicated. I wanted it so that I could continue to do my work freely. And, you know, I'm going to carry this apology in my pocket every time I go to protest now, so that if one of the Victoria Police members haven't got the memo, I can make them read it, and I can say to them, this time, I'm not going to settle at an apology. I'll take your badge.